Did you know that the very progress that built our modern world also created some of the most brutal poverty in human history? We often picture the Industrial Revolution as a time of brilliant inventors and magnificent machines, but there's a darker, more complex story hidden in the shadows of those towering factories. It's a story of hope turning into hardship and of millions of lives forever changed. Today, we're going to journey back in time, not just to see the gears of progress turn, but to feel the human cost of that transformation. Let's uncover the forgotten story of the industrial slums. Imagine a world lit by candles and powered by muscle. This was England in the early 18th century. Life was rural, dictated by the seasons. For centuries, the rhythm of life was slow, predictable. But then, a flicker of change began. It started not with a king's decree, but in the hands of ordinary craftsmen. In 1733, a weaver named John Kay invented the flying shuttle. Suddenly, a single weaver could do the work of two. It was a small change, but it was a spark. Then came James Hargreaves's spinning jenny, which could spin multiple threads at once, and Richard Arkwright's water frame, which used the power of rivers to do the work of dozens. These weren't just improvements, they were revolutions in a box. Each invention fed the next, creating a chain reaction of innovation. The demand for cotton, once a luxury, exploded. The quiet hum of the countryside was being replaced by the clatter of a new age. This was a time of immense wonder and boundless ambition. It felt like humanity was finally unlocking its true potential. But to truly unleash this new power, a new source of energy was needed. Something more reliable than a river, and stronger than a horse. The answer lay deep underground, coal, and the key to unlocking its power was the steam engine. While early versions existed, it was James Watt's improvements in the 1770s that turned steam from a curiosity into the heartbeat of industry. Now, factories no longer needed to be near rivers. They could be built anywhere, and they were. They rose like iron giants, belching smoke into the sky. This technological symphony needed an orchestra of workers. The Enclosure Acts had already pushed thousands of families off their ancestral farmlands, leaving them with a stark choice: starve or move. And so they moved. A great migration began, a torrent of humanity flowing from the green fields of the countryside to the grey, smoky promise of the cities. They came with hope in their hearts, dreaming of steady wages and a better life for their children. Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, these weren't just cities anymore. They were magnets, pulling people in from every corner of the kingdom. The population of Manchester, for example, skyrocketed, growing 10 times over in just a century. They arrived to a world they couldn't have imagined. The cities weren't ready. There was no planning, no infrastructure. Houses, or rather tenements, were thrown up with breathtaking speed and shocking neglect. Entire families, sometimes more than one, were crammed into single, lightless rooms. These weren't homes. They were human warehouses. Streets were unpaved, overflowing with mud, garbage, and human waste. With no sanitation systems, diseases like cholera, typhoid, and tuberculosis spread like wildfire. The very air was thick with a cocktail of coal smoke and pollution, turning day into a perpetual twilight. The ambition that drove them to the city was quickly replaced by a sense of being overwhelmed. Trapped in a nightmare of brick and soot, life for the factory worker was a relentless grind. The day began before dawn and ended long after sunset. Work weeks were 6 days long, with shifts lasting 12, 14, even 16 hours. The factory floor was a battlefield of dangers. The noise of the machinery was deafening. The air was filled with cotton dust that clogged the lungs, a condition grimly known as white lung. There were no safety regulations. Workers, exhausted and often malnourished, could lose a finger, a limb, or even their life in a moment of inattention. The machines they operated were unforgiving. And the machines didn't care about age. Child labor wasn't just common, it was essential to the system. Children, some as young as 5 or 6, were prized for their small size and nimble fingers. They could crawl under machinery to clear jams or piece together broken threads. They worked the same grueling hours as adults for a fraction of the pay. Their childhoods were stolen, replaced by exhaustion and fear. The dream of a better life had soured into a grim reality of survival. The wonder of the new machines had morphed into a monster that consumed their lives. Disillusionment was a smog as thick as the one outside their windows. The stark contrast between the new class of wealthy factory owners and the impoverished workers created a chasm in society. One group lived in grand houses, enjoying luxuries previously unimaginable, their fortunes built on the very system that crushed the other. This wasn't just poverty. It was a new kind of urban poverty, concentrated and visible, born directly from the engine of progress. This inequality bred resentment and despair. The promise of the revolution felt like a lie, but even in the darkest corners of the slums, the human spirit flickered. People found ways to endure. They formed communities, sharing what little they had. They sang songs of protest and sorrow. Slowly, a new consciousness began to form. Workers started to organize. They formed friendly societies and early trade unions, pooling their meager resources to support sick members or families who had lost a breadwinner. These were small acts of defiance, but they were the seeds of a larger movement. The fight for change was long and brutal. Protests were often met with violence. The Peterloo Massacre of 1819, where cavalry charged a peaceful crowd demanding reform, showed how fiercely the establishment would resist. Yet, the pressure was relentless. Thinkers and writers like Charles Dickens and Friedrich Engels exposed the horrors of the slums to a wider audience, shocking the conscience of the nation. Their words painted a picture so grim it could no longer be ignored. Gradually, painstakingly, reform began. The Factory Acts of the 19th century started to place limits on child labor and working hours. The Public Health Act of 1848 was a landmark step towards improving sanitation in the crowded cities. It was a slow, agonizing process, a battle fought street by street, factory by factory. The system that had created such misery was slowly being forced to develop a conscience. It wasn't a sudden fix, but a cautious, fragile hope began to dawn. The idea that progress should not come at the cost of human dignity began to take root. The story of the industrial slums is a powerful, cautionary tale. It reminds us that technological advancement is never neutral. It always has a human dimension, creating winners and losers. The incredible progress of the Industrial Revolution laid the groundwork for the modern world, for the technologies and comforts we enjoy today. But it came at a staggering human cost, a cost paid by millions who were sacrificed on the altar of progress. Their legacy is a dual one. It's in the foundations of our cities and economies, but it's also in the labor laws, the public health systems, and the social safety nets we now take for granted. These protections weren't given freely. They were fought for, won through the suffering and struggle of those who lived and died in the slums. As we stand on the cusp of new technological revolutions today, from AI to genetic engineering, their story is more relevant than ever. It compels us to ask the hard questions: who benefits from this progress, and who might be left behind? Remembering their struggle helps us navigate our own future with more empathy, more wisdom, and a cautious hope that we can build a world where progress uplifts everyone. Thank you for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story compelling, please hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden corners of history. And let me know in the comments what other historical topics you'd like to explore. See you next time.